Good morning! Welcome back to Student Victim Assistance Virtual Coffee Chat. So my name is Avery and I'm the Graduate Assistant for Student Victim Assistance at Georgia State University. So this morning we're going to talk about a new topic. We are going to talk about what it means to create and set boundaries, which is really important, especially as you're in college and entering into a new phase of adulthood. So let's just take a few moments to chat about it. So first of all, what are boundaries and why is it important to set them? So there are a lot of different definitions for what boundaries are, but generally here we're going to define them as any kind of limits, rules, or expectations that we have in our personal relationships. Mostly they help us to have healthy relationships with an appropriate amount of intimacy and communication. So if your boundaries are too loose, you may have some trouble saying no to others or feel like me, maybe you're a people pleaser. And if your boundaries are too rigid, you may have difficulty letting people in and forming those close relationships. However, the point that we want to get you at is to a point where you have healthy boundaries. So you can kind of communicate your expectations, your needs, and your wants with your partner, your loved ones, your family, or friends. Respect their expectations for you, and also know that your own values and beliefs are important as well. So we've talked about what boundaries are, but what do they look like? So boundaries are not just physical, they can also be emotional, sexual, financial, or intellectual. So for example, in a romantic relationship, one boundary you might have is that you may tell your partner that you're okay with kissing, but you're not yet ready to have sex. In a friendship, you may communicate that although you love spending time with your friends, you can't hang out past a certain time because you really have to get some sleep for school or work. And at work, you may set the expectation that you only respond to emails during your office hours or during your work hours. So remember, though, that even though you set these boundaries, they're flexible and they can change with time and you can adjust them as needed. It's okay for you to change your boundaries as long as no one is forcing you or pressuring you to do so. And you have the right to redefine these boundaries based on your needs and have these new boundaries respected. So that's just something really important to remember when we're talking about boundaries. So boundaries are important to communicate because they help people know what you're okay with and what makes you uncomfortable. So in an ideal world, our friends, our partners, our family members, they're always going to have respect for our boundaries and communicate their own. However, some people in your life may try to push those boundaries or take advantage of you or make you want to change those boundaries. And that's why, it's kind of important to know how to communicate your own values, needs, and limits when you're entering into any kind of relationship with someone. And always remember that your boundaries and your values are important even if someone makes you feel like they're not. And also, it can be very difficult or awkward learning how to communicate those boundaries to others. It's not really a skill that always comes naturally because depending on the way you're socialized, it may be very normal to want to accommodate other people. However, boundaries are important in learning what you're comfortable with and your own limits. So here are a few phrases that might be able to help you get started. So if you want to communicate your own boundaries, something you might say is, "It makes me uncomfortable when you blank." Or if there's something someone is doing that you really like, you can say, "I really like when you do this." Or if you're trying to communicate your feelings about a particular situation, you can say, "When you do this, it makes me feel this. Next time, I would like you to do this." So for example, someone could say, "When you interrupt me, it makes me feel like I'm not heard. Next time, I would like if you let me finish your thoughts and then we can talk about them together." It's also very normal to say, "I need blank." So, right now I just need some space to process what I'm going through. Or generally what we talked about earlier, "I'm okay with this, but I'm not okay with this." So that's really important, especially with physical boundaries. I'm okay with kissing, but I'm not okay with sex, etc. And also, too, relationships are a two-way street no matter what kind of relationship they are. So sometimes you may be unsure about what someone else's boundaries are. And remember that it's perfectly okay and honestly very good to ask if you don't know. And when applicable, always obtain someone else's enthusiastic consent when you're talking about boundaries. So phrases that can help you check in on someone else's boundaries, you can ask, "Is this okay? Do you have any expectations for me in this relationship? What are your expectations regarding this, regarding sex, regarding time we spend together outside of work, things like that, or what can I do to make you feel more comfortable?" So those are just a few questions that can kind of help you check in with your partner, your family members, your loved ones, your friends, etc. And so when it comes to boundaries, always use your intuition. So healthy boundaries are focused on respect, communication, consideration for the other party, but unhealthy boundaries seek to control or hold power in a relationship. So it's important to notice that, especially if you feel like someone may be using their boundaries to manipulate you to do something. And then when establishing boundaries and expectations in your relationships, just to remember to reflect on what you're asking and what is being asked of you to ensure that the requests are healthy. So that kind of concludes our discussion about boundaries today. I hope that this coffee chat helped you learn more about setting boundaries and to set you up to create some healthy boundaries within your own life. If you give it a try, comment below and let us know how it goes. And again, you can always follow us at Be Well Panthers on Instagram for more information about student health and wellness. And to close out, if you have any questions about trauma, need any type of crisis intervention, or would like to set up an appointment with an advocate, please give us a call. Student Victim Assistance offers crisis intervention, advocacy, and support for students. Student Victim Assistance can help students to determine their options and provide information related to their experience, even if they have no idea what they need or what they intend to do, which is a very normal response to trauma. Students who seek Student Victim Assistance services are not obligated to pursue criminal or university charges. Students who would like more information or would like to schedule an appointment with an advocate can call 404-413-1965. Advocates are available to help students who experience any type of recent or past victimization, whether it occurred on or off campus. Student Victim Assistance can help students regain a sense of control over their traumatic experience so that they may resume their academic or personal pursuits. And lastly, Student Victim Assistance can help students who know someone who has been victimized or would like to learn more about student victimization. That's it for today, but please take good care, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a wonderful day.